It was the voice of a courageous explorer, a man dedicated to the pursuit of man's knowledge and the expansion of his horizons.
Good morning. Here is Nathan Ivy.
What is up, fam? Nate Ivy with you, and I'm broadcasting live from the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. And as always, it's my pleasure to be with you. My apologies for the late start of the show, but wow, I've never seen, well, again, I'm not from Cleveland, so I can't say I've never seen a city like this before. But let's just say that when you've got a Republican National Convention, there are a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of moving pieces, and this downtown is absolutely packed. Oh, man, in one 24-hour period, less than 24 hours, I've seen so much, and I want to share everything with you, and I want to give you a sense of what you can expect from the Republican National Convention. I'm using purely 21st century technology with this endeavor. My mobile radio show, as I'm moving about, I'm actually mobile. I just walked past the good folks over at MSNBC, and they were doing their morning show, which was really quite interesting to be able to see behind the scenes. I've gone over to the Q this morning, and it is packed. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely packed. And wow, this is amazing. I mean, this has been a really, really interesting experience. Here's what I can tell you. And a lot of people have been saying a lot of wishing me well and Nathan, be careful. I don't think from what I'm seeing that I'm going to have to worry about that. You're talking about Secret Service as you get closer to the primary events that are on every street corner. You're talking about dogs. You're talking about roadblocks. I mean, you're talking about everything. Listen, I even saw, I'm like, what is this buzzing noise? Okay, I was at an event last night. I look up and I see a drone. There was a drone, and it actually had a camera on it that was pointed down. And as I was in line making my way into the queue, the drone was over the top of us, going back and forth. I mean, it was amazing. It was quite interesting. I walk into the security checkpoint just yesterday because I wanted to check out the lay of the land, right? And I walk straight into about 25 Jack Bauers from that show 24 Hour. You know, Jack Bauer didn't play. I ran to about 25 of them, strapped and ready to go. I mean, everybody's been nice so far. I must say that I've had many conversations with multiple members of law enforcement. All have been pleasant. I've had no bad experiences so far. Yesterday, after picking up my media credentials, and I got to tell you, I'm just a dude from Cincinnati who started out in media with a public radio station, was lucky enough to get a gig at a commercial radio station. Now I'm doing my own thing on the internet. I never expected to be doing a show live from the Republican National Convention, but I'm glad I'm here. So as I'm walking in to get my media credentials, it was literally a who's who of personalities that you might see on cable television, MSNBC, CNN. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I walked right past TJ Holmes. He was taking a lot of photographs. And I'll be honest with you, I got nothing negative to say about that brother. He does amazing work. Check out TJ Holmes, but he's a little smaller than I thought he was going to be. He's like Prince. He's like TJ Holmes Prince. TJ Prince Holmes. I mean, just a little fella. But, people really respect his work, well respected, and has a name that people recognize. Quite interesting. Last night, I was over at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that I was pissed as hell because I go to one, I walk through everything. I figure, if I go to an event like this, I'm going to see everything. Okay, that's just me. I'm going everywhere. I'm talking to everybody. I'm shaking hands. I'm walking up to strangers. I'm introducing myself. Of course, I've got cards and flyers and promotional items. I'm passing them out. I could have passed them out all yesterday, but of course I held on to some for today and possibly the rest of the week. We'll see how it goes. You know, this is once in a lifetime, so I want to experience everything, and I don't want to leave too prematurely. So we'll see how everything shakes out in the days and months to follow. I mean, the days and hours to follow. Perhaps I'll stay a little longer than I originally anticipated, but we shall see. And I'll be with you to discuss it every step of the way. So just yesterday, I'm over at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And like I told you, I got a little PO'd over there because they didn't have anything up with Chuck Berry. And that's just a minor issue. I am not going to get all deep into it. I'm just saying that how you going to have a damn Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and you don't have Chuck Berry? I don't understand that. Chuck Berry is the godfather of rock and roll. Okay? They should get that straight. But I walked through the entire facility. It was quite interesting. And I'll be honest with you. The architecture was more interesting than anything else. It's a very unique building. And I found myself sitting on a balcony thinking, is there any support here? But I posted some photographs just yesterday. And again, you're going to hear sights and sounds. I'm like out and about near the queue. Nothing's really popping right now inside of the convention center because everything's being set up. The real magic, the real interesting things are going to happen later on today when the convention really starts, when the speakers are on the podium. I was inside the convention room, and that's the Q, the Quicken Loan Center, just yesterday, the house that LeBron built and brought them a championship. I was there yesterday, and yesterday I thought that it was very, very interesting. Like, I was there when everybody was setting up for, everything's going to be today. So I got a chance to see people set up for all the big cable networks. And again, there were personalities walking around. I saw, I can't even remember all these people's names. Chuck Todd, if that rings a bell, from MSNBC. He's not my favorite. I think he's weak as hell, but I ran into him, shook hands with him. That was cool. Didn't get a photograph. Who else? Just numerous folks, man. Just numerous folks. Went over to where the Ohio delegates. What's up, Ohio? What's up, Ohio? Went over to the Ohio delegates and got a chance to kind of like get a chance to see, where those folks will be. They're actually to the right of the stage. What I thought was interesting is that the states in which Trump won, the states in which Trump had the most support, had better seating in terms of the audience in reference to the main stage than did others. So, for instance, New York, front and center. And that's done, obviously, for the purposes of media. Because what will happen now is that when it's televised, when Trump is there, you're going to hear a lot of excitement. You're going to see a lot of interaction with the crowd because they're right there front and center. It was quite impressive. With the media credentials that I have, when I picked them up yesterday, they told me that I will have unlimited, unfettered access to anything and anywhere the media can be. So, for instance, I'm on my way over right now to Radio Row. At Radio Row is going to be all the radio stations, all the morning stations. Everybody's going to be set up. And, of course, that's exactly where I want to be. Those are my kind of people. And I may do another broadcast from the convention later on this morning. If you have not already subscribed to the show on Spreaker, go ahead and do so for me, please, fam, because what will happen is I plan on going live throughout the day. Okay, at separate times. I'll do my best to give you a heads up via social media, primarily Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. If we're not connected, let's be connected so that and you've got, some kind of idea of what's about to happen. I'll also be using Periscope. And I'll be using video as well, just to give you an insider's view as to what's really going on. Again, quite interesting, quite amazing. I was talking with some Clevelanders yesterday, some black Clevelanders, right? And we started talking about, everything that's happening and the LeBron James. And so I asked him the question like, okay, so Cleveland Cavaliers finally won a championship after all these years. Okay. What does that really mean for average, everyday Clevelanders? I mean, if you're not a part of the Dan Gilbert clique, or you're not associated in terms of a business association with the NBA or the Cavaliers, is your life going to be enhanced by the fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers won a championship? And that was my question before I got here. That was my question yesterday to some black Clevelanders, and they answered it. And the answer is hell no. They ain't getting the ring. There's no real conversation about job development. There's a little bit of antipathy because it's like, wow, downtown is getting all this attention. They're fixing up these spots for the Cleveland convention. But what about my neighborhood? What about where I live? What about the things I care about? So if you live in Cincinnati, that's something that we've dealt with. There's been a lot of investment in the downtown area, and even some conversation about building a marina, which I may have a different opinion about that now after visiting the marina here in Cleveland. It was absolutely breathtaking. Breathtaking. But listen, I don't want to get too deep into the show. I want to say, before I get too deep in the show, I want to say what's up to all the folks that support me. I really appreciate you. I see Brian Wright said they stopped someone this morning already because of the open carry right outside the perimeter. It's deep, folks. It's deep. Monique writes, morning, everyone. Ashley writes, good morning, team. And what's up, Ashley? What's up, Deanna? Good morning, Ed. What's up, Deborah? Hey, how you doing, Shannon? Good morning. Mike writes, good morning. What's up, Tiffany? What up, Brittany? Hey, Angela, how you doing? Good morning to everyone. And I may sound a little bit different. That's because I'm not in my my home studio using my equipment there. I'm using some mobile equipment. So it may sound a bit different, but hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. And I can still read your chat. We can still interact in that way. If you like to send a link about something that you have seen within the last, since the last show on Friday, feel free to do so. Go right ahead. Special shout out to my in-laws. I'm staying with them. Of course, my wife's family and my wonderful mother-in-law, who I dropped off early this morning at her gig in downtown. And it was very, very, very thick with traffic. But I've had a great time so far and met a lot of people. I've met delegates from Connecticut. I've met delegates from Texas. I've met delegates from Virginia. I met a black dude who actually gave me the hookup for a party on Tuesday night, a BET hip hop party. You know your boy Nate Ivy has to be there. I want to network and connect with as many people as possible. And he's the political director, actually brother, working with some conservatives, right? Republican candidates out of Georgia. So I've met a lot of people. And if you know me, you know anything about me, I'm very friendly, very quick with a smile. So connecting with people has never been an issue for me. And so I'm able to utilize those skills of what I'm doing now in terms of connecting with people. And I'll be honest with you, so far, great time. Everyone has been spectacular. I don't know. Listen, I will say this much. This is interesting. There ain't a lot of black folks. There's not a lot of black folks. I mean, there's black folks in the city, obviously, and there's workers. And I even saw some black Jack Bauers, like Secret Service guys and everything, which I thought was kind of, I don't know. It wasn't shocking, but it was interesting to me. Very, very young, too. But in terms of like the actual, like people I see with like similar media badges and like delegate badges, not a lot. It's not a whole lot. So I was wondering if people are making assumptions about me because I'm at this Republican convention, like, oh, he must be a Republican or he must be somehow associated with, you know, that side of the political aisle, so to speak. And of course, they're all wrong. Of course, they're all wrong about that, but people have been very nice. And I think that people are bringing the same attitude to this situation that I am. Pardon me. Because like I said, I've just been out and people have walked over to me, just introduced themselves. So it's been very, very pleasant in that way. Very, very pleasant. And, you know, when you're at an event where all the food is free, all the drinks are free, whether that be soda or water or, hey, maybe you like some adult beverages, all free at the event I was at last night. So when human beings are put in those kind of scenarios, it brings the best out of them, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? There ain't a whole lot to be upset about when you got free everything. So I stayed at the event at the at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until about, it's about 11 or so last night. They had a huge fireworks show at the very end. So imagine this. If you live in Cincinnati, imagine being at Washington Park, okay? And at Washington Park, the entire park, like half of it, let's say a U shape, is completely surrounded by those